Hello, wonderful people. You are welcome to our virtual learning. And I'm still your facilitator, Mr. Samuel Yeboah, the science teacher. Now we are continuing with our studies. And today we are looking at the following aspects under circulatory system in humans. Today we are looking at the sequence of blood flow through the heart, the blood vessels, then back to the heart. We also look at substances that are taken up and removed by the blood during circulation. We also look at the functions of the circulatory system, the general function of the circulatory system. And we also look at some diseases of the circulatory system. Now I've been telling you that as far as we have blood in us, we need to thank God, because without blood flowing up and down, we cannot survive. And therefore we need to thank God for whatever we have in us, especially the blood that we have in our system. Now, we are expecting something at the end of the lesson, as you already know. So today what we are expecting at the end of the lesson is that you should be able to demonstrate how blood circulation occurs. You should be able to demonstrate how blood circulation occurs. And two, you should be able to explain the general function of the circulatory system. And last but not least, you should be able to outline some diseases of the circulatory system. You should be able to outline some diseases or disorders of the circulatory system. So this is our specific objective for the day. Now to move on, let's look at the sequence of blood flow through the heart, through the blood vessels, then back to the heart. Now, before we look at the sequence here, let's look at how blood circulation occurs in general. Now, during breathing in, that is respiration, internal respiration. During internal respiration, atmospheric oxygen is taken into the capillaries of the lungs, and oxygen in the capillaries of the lungs combines with hemoglobin of the red blood cells to form oxyhemoglobin. At the same time, food nutrients such as glucose and amino acids are also produced and added or mixes with the blood and moves into the small intestines. The blood becomes oxygenated. Oxygenated blood from the lungs enters the left auricle or atrium of the heart through the pulmonary vein. The left atrium contracts and the blood now moves to the left ventricle through the bicuspid valve. The valve is the part that prevents the backflow of blood. Blood from the aorta is sent to all parts of the body, together with other useful substances such as glucose, amino acid, and the rest of the food nutrients, and is released to the cells, and carbon dioxide, urea, and salts from the cells enter the blood. So this type of circulation in humans and other mammals is also called the double circulation. So back to the demonstration here, or the diagram here. You can see that we have the heart here and the lungs. So oxygenated blood flows from the heart It means that the heart pumps blood, okay? That is, when air enters the heart, okay, the heart pumps it with the blood. And this is the direction of flow of oxygenated blood. That is blood containing oxygen or air. It moves here through the artery or the tubes. Then it flows or moves into the arteriole. That is the tiny tubes of the artery. Then it passes through to the capillary tubes. And from the capillary tubes, flows into the venule. Venule connects to the vein, which is another tube or another tube that blood flows. And from there, it moves into the heart again. And this is the direction of flow of deoxygenated blood. And that is deoxygenated blood. So it is now known as deoxygenated blood. That is blood containing carbon dioxide. That is deoxygenated blood. So you can see the movement is back to the heart again. So from the heart, it moves from the heart and comes back to the heart once again. So that is the sequence of blood flow through the heart, blood vessels, then back to the heart. Now the capillaries allow the diffusion of oxygen and nutrients from the blood into the tissues and diffusion of waste products of metabolism such as carbon dioxide from the tissues into the blood, which means that in the body we have waste substances that are produced. An example is the carbon dioxide. So it is the capillaries that allows that to come out, and it's through the process known as diffusion. That is movement of particles or molecules from a region of highly concentrated to a region of low concentration until the particles are evenly distributed. That is diffusion. Now let's look at some substances that are taken up and removed by the blood during circulation. We have parts of the body and what is taken up by the blood and what is removed by the blood. So when you take the lungs, oxygen is taken up by the blood. And here water, carbon dioxide, is taken or is removed by the blood. When you take the liver, we have urea, which is urine, glucose, fatty acid, glycerol, and heat is also taken up by the blood. And what is removed by the blood from the liver is glucose, excess amino acid, worn out red blood cells. These are substances that are taken or removed by the blood in the liver. Now in the kidneys, we have carbon dioxide being removed from or being taken up by the blood. And we have water, urea, and mineral salt being removed from the kidney. When you take the small intestines, we have glucose, amino acid, water, mineral salt, vitamins being taken up by the blood. And what is taken or what is removed by the blood is oxygen. That is in the small intestines, oxygen is removed by the blood. And the last one, the skin. When you take the skin, vitamin D is taken up by the blood. And water, mineral salt, urea, and heat is removed by the blood. So these are substances that are taken up and removed by the blood during circulation. Now let's look at the functions of the circulatory system. The general function of the circulatory system: 1. It transports oxygen to organs and tissues throughout the body. Once again, it transports oxygen to organs and tissues throughout the body. That is the first function of the circulatory system. Another function is that it transports nutrients such as glucose to organs and tissues. So you can see that before the organs and tissues can be active or can function, they need these nutrients or these substances. The third function of the circulatory system is that it carries away waste products of metabolism from the tissues. Metabolisms are waste substances produced in the body, which can also be in the blood stream or in the blood. And therefore, we need a system which can take it out or remove it. Another function of the circulatory system is that it regulates or controls body temperature. It regulates or controls body temperature. And the last one here is that circulatory system, when foreign elements invade the body or attack the body, it transports white blood cells and antibodies to regions of attack so that it can fight against those bacteria or those germs that infect the body. So these are the functions of the circulatory system. Now let's look at diseases of the circulatory system. You know, the circulatory system comprises of the heart, the blood vessels, and the blood itself. So you can see that these components are very crucial, or they are vital in humans or in human beings. And therefore, the least mistake, this part can be affected. And therefore, we need to take good care of these parts of our system, and that is the circulatory system. We have a lot of diseases or disorders that can affect the circulatory system. The first one is high blood pressure, which is also known as hypertension. High blood pressure, also known as hypertension, which we normally call it BP. That is the blood pressure. We also have the low blood pressure, also known as hypotension. So take note of the difference here. We have the hypertension and hypotension. These are diseases of the circulatory system. We also have another disease, which is leukemia. And leukemia is cancer of the blood. You know, the blood can be infected or can come under attack. And that is what leukemia or cancer of the blood. We also have another disease which can attack the circulatory system, and that is varicose veins. Varicose vein. This is a situation whereby the veins swelling and it pains a lot. It becomes very painful for the person. It's a swollen vein. That is varicose vein. We also have another disease which is known as the hemorrhoids, and popularly known as piles or the cocoa as is locally called. Cocoa or piles, which normally affect the anus, or it appears at the anus, and when you are defecating, you find it difficult to defecate. That is hemorrhoids. We also have stroke. Stroke is a situation whereby parts of the body, the cells become weak or dead, and they cannot function, and therefore For example, you see somebody, the person raises the hand like this, it cannot hang like this, the hand will drop like this. That is an example of someone suffering from stroke. Person raises the hand like this, it cannot hang like this, it will drop. It means that the blood cannot flow there, the blood is not flowing there, it's not functioning, that part is not functioning. Portion or part of the body can be infected with stroke or can be affected with stroke. And this is another example of circulatory system or disease of the circulatory system. We also have what we call coronal thrombosis or heart attack. Inability of air to move through the system, especially the brain or the head. When this occurs, immediately the blood ceases to flow through the part, then the person is already dead. Because when blood ceases to flow, then it means that the part will not function. And this is what we normally call the heart attack. And this disease is also known as coronal thrombosis. There are other diseases such as angina, that is severe pain in the chest caused by low supply of blood to the body. Angina, that is severe pain in the chest. So when you are there, you are feeling some pain, severe pains within the heart, then you need to check out. It means that the blood is not flowing well. We also have another disease which is known as the hepatitis. It's a circulatory disease. Hepatitis, we have the hepatitis A, B, and the rest. We have types. We also have another disease which is also known as atherosclerosis. That is the thickening and hardening of the walls of the artery. These are diseases of circulatory system. We will look at the causes, the symptoms, and how we can prevent these diseases in our subsequent lessons. But before we end our lesson, let's look at something here. You know, in healthy people, the normal blood pressure in infants or children is supposed to be 80/45. You know, we have two stages of the heart pumping. We have the systolic phase, and we have the diastolic phase. Systolic phase is when the auricles and ventricles contract to pump blood to all parts of the body. That is what we call systolic phase. That is the heartbeat, the type of heartbeat. And the second type of heartbeat is the diastolic phase, which means that, you know, when the resting, that's a resting period during which all the heart chambers relax. See, you breathe in and out. So when you breathe and you get into the system or the heart, you see that it relaxes, all the parts relaxes, and that is the diastolic phase. So it's breathing in and out like that, and therefore we have it in two forms here. So in infants or children, it's supposed to be 80 and 45 millimeters of mercury. That is the measurement or the actual pressure that a normal human being or very healthy person should have. Then at age 30, we have 120/80 millimeters of mercury. That should be the normal pressure. And at age 40 and above, or 40 and over, the normal blood pressure is supposed to be 140/85 millimeters of mercury. And you know, we can measure our blood pressure or pressure using an instrument known as sphygmomanometer. Sphygmomanometer. That is an instrument used to check or measure blood pressure. You should try and measure your pressure so that you know the state that you are in, whether your blood pressure is high or low. or you have the normal blood pressure. So this is where we draw the curtain for today's lesson in order to save data for other lessons. God bless you and continue to revise your notes. Bye bye.